Before hosting his own festival, before dominating the music world with Sicko Mode, before playing at the Super Bowl halftime show, Travis Scott was a kid from Houston who grinded to make connections and stand out in the music industry. I've covered his story in depth with my rodeo analysis video, but Scott would find himself homeless with aspirations of making it as a musician. Travis would drop out of college and get kicked out of his childhood home, making beats and writing verses as he slept on friends' couches in LA. Finally, Travis would get noticed by T.I. in 2012, getting signed to Grand Hustle Records. Soon after, he would get in the studio with Kanye West during the Cruel Summer sessions, giving West the beat for Sin City and featuring on the track. Being on Cruel Summer would predictably give Travis a lot of exposure, in which he capitalized on by releasing his first mixtape, Owl Pharaoh, in 2013. While the lows are certainly there, songs like Upper Echelon, Bad Mood Shit on You, and Hell of a Night were way ahead of their time and to this day are still slept on by fans of Travis. While Owl Pharaoh isn't flawless, it's certainly impressed for being Scott's first mixtape. Given the stamp of approval from the likes of Kanye West and T.I., all eyes were on Travis for his debut album, which was set to be called Rodeo. However, Travis would decide to release one more mixtape in the lead up to his debut record. In August of 2014, Scott would take to Twitter to announce that he would be releasing 10 new songs that month. The songs would be a part of his second mixtape, a prelude to his upcoming album titled Days Before Rodeo. I want to highlight the pure brilliance as well as almost restraint from Travis here, because as a young and up-and-coming artist who is co-signed by someone like Kanye, you get the chance to get a lot of dope features on tracks that you're working on. And as an upcoming artist, you want all the attention you could possibly get, and you think you want to put these features on your debut album that's going to be on streaming. And I'm not saying that Rodeo doesn't have an amazing feature list, it totally does. But for Travis to keep some of these bangers and say, hey, Rodeo, as we would later learn, has a structure to it. T.I.'s narrating, it's telling a story. It just truly shows his artistry and his care for the eventual projects that he puts out. So with this second mixtape, he can not only show his ability to make these bangers that don't necessarily, make a story, but I mean, you play this shit live, it goes crazy. I'm talking about Mamacita. But also he could show his growth from Owl Pharaoh, as well as skim some of the fat off of Rodeo, allowing that album to be more clear-cut and precise. On top of it all, Travis has Days Before Rodeo act as a prelude, a preview of what is to come. And the mixtape not only holds fans over, but it also builds hype in a way that oddly enough isn't done often in the music world, with the mixtape sharing the same title and theme as the eventual album. As for that theme, cowboy shit is more strongly present on Rodeo, but it is introduced on Days Before. The lead single, Don't Play, featuring Big Sean, is accompanied by a Western-themed music video. Travis rides a horse, while a unique electronic keyboard intro leads into a crazy beat drop. Also featured is the 1975, a creative choice that really sets Travis apart from other artists, with the group being an English pop rock band. But before we get too in-depth on any other tracks on Days Before Rodeo, we gotta start off and cover the intro track, The Prayer. The title obviously has religious connotation to it, and that is complemented by the track having an organ riff throughout. Travis opens with a crazy verse, flexing his work with big artists and that rodeo lifestyle before the beat drops. On the chorus, you got Travis introducing the versatility of his voice, something that Kanye has really pushed him to do with tracks like Pablo and Praise God. Travis is continuing with the religious theme, acknowledging God, but also establishing his antsy feeling of wanting to make it. As the song comes to a close, the beat slows down and Travis beautifully harmonizes in autotune with the instrumental. Alex Toomey, who mixed the song, would describe the reverb effect on the outro years after Days Before Rodeo's release, stating that the reverse reverb applied was accidentally placed an eighth note off, but they liked how it sounded, so they just kept it. Now, if you've ever been to a Travis Scott concert, you're likely familiar with the second track on this mixtape, Mamacita. This song is so fire. The intro is really ominous in a way. It just builds up the energy, creating a really interesting and just energetic atmosphere. You got like a single string on a guitar being hit before boom, the song really kicks off and the beat drops. There literally is no better way to explain the song other than just saying, it's a fucking banger. With Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan, Travis raps over a crazy beat about girls from his hometown of Houston. My description can do it no justice. You got to experience it. Travis's opening verse on this track may be my favorite on this entire project, especially at the tail end when he speeds it up, the flow gets crazier, and then he does that little demon, like, you know, deeper tone to his. It's awesome.
If I'm feeling bougie, might hit your line, bitch.
Young Thug absolutely kills his verse on Mamacita as well, but it's not the only time he's featured on Days Before Rodeo. He is also on the track Skyfall. This track is a lot slower as Travis denounces the older generation of musicians who often look down at change or youth in their genre. Drawing a parallel to a dealer whose supply is no longer potent enough to produce a high, Travis takes a shot at older artists who have lost the ability to connect with the younger generation. Travis rides this Metro Boomin produced beat, and the atmosphere produced by not only his flow but also the beat almost takes you in the mind of Scott, who is a young artist in his thoughts about changing the game, a far dream that he wishes to make a reality. Track 7, Zombies, also continues on this ideology of Travis being at the forefront of a new youthful wave of artists. The chorus denounces current trends in music that are outdated, and the name of the song refers to current artists using old formulas to create redundant, boring songs and albums they are creating as lifeless zombies. The best track on this mixtape is track 4, Drugs, You Should Try It. A slow guitar riff starts out the song as Travis begins to harmonize on the intro. Interestingly enough, the vocals you do hear from Travis here on the intro are taking his vocals on the outro and putting them in reverse. On this song, Travis opens up more personally as he speaks on his girl. While he relies on the drugs he consumes on a day-to-day basis, this girl is his only true antidote, the one thing that can make him feel whole. As the drugs fade and he once again feels lost, he understands that this girl is his only real escape. They participate in the same activities together, both partying and hitting the club. But the song is really melodic and gives off a hazed vibe with a chilling bass line. It's almost like Travis is coming down from a wild night with this girl, and as he is, he's realizing just how much she means to him, how much he appreciates her. A very raw moment for Travis early on in his career. This mixtape is so great because it really displays Travis's diversity. He has the bangers like Basement Freestyle, the I Love It-esque fun tracks like Sloppy Toppy with the Migos feature and everything, but also you have those real personal tracks, and the introspective tracks like Quintana Part 2, they're not as slow and melodic as Drugs You Should Try It, but still, he's talking about a girl who he really likes, but she's only coming to him for drugs and partying. She doesn't really love him for him. While talking about introspective tracks on this project, you gotta mention Backyard, where Travis is basically reflecting on his accomplishments so far in his career. This track legitimately begins with Travis eating chips, reinforcing the idea that he is sitting back and really thinking about all the things he has accomplished so far in his career. But in 2018, Travis would respond to a fan and reveal that the chips eaten were sour cream and onion. Do we fuck with sour cream and onion? Talk about it in the comments. But Travis lays back, chilling in his backyard, with his verse essentially embodying his thought process, how they went from when he was a kid not being able to afford cable to him being shouted out by Drake. Ending this mixtape is the gloomy song Gray. Travis grew up with basketball player D'Angelo Harrison, whose older brother was set to follow D'Angelo's path and become a successful athlete. However, D'Angelo's brother DeAndre would end up making some wrong decisions and serving time in prison. This track is all about people like DeAndre, who their story is basically they have a lot of skills, they could make it big, but they have their own personal struggles which holds them back. And DeAndre, obviously being in jail, is thinking all the time what could have been. gloom certainly comes when you realize that you stopped yourself from having success due to your own dumb decisions. Travis is very proud of where he is from, and is reflecting on people like himself and D'Angelo, who grinded extra hard to make it and be successful due to them growing up in a rough environment. While the sky is gray, the darkness around Travis motivated him to keep moving forward. In the rodeo, if you're not prepared to get thrown on your ass, then you shouldn't get on the bull. Travis knows this, and although he's been bucked off many times, he picks himself up and gets back on for a wild ride of impending fame and superstardom. Despite its immense popularity, Days Before Rodeo has yet to be put on streaming platforms. Although it was rumored back in 2019 that the mixtape was going to be available on Apple Music and Spotify very soon, it remains off of major streaming services, at least for now. Like most projects made by artists before they truly make it, a big issue with putting this thing on major streaming services is sample clearances. A lot of artists on the grind before they are signed by a label don't even think about the fact that these songs may not be able to be uploaded, at least in the original form, due to the fact that they have samples and other sections of songs that weren't exactly approved by the copyright owner, and that is especially the issue for a lot of hit tracks like Drugs, You Should Try It. But regardless, Days Before Rodeo remains a time capsule for the experimentation of Travis Scott's sound. As he was attempting to develop his own identity in the music world, Travis took some crazy risks on this mixtape that made for some true classics that remain standouts in his catalog to this day. While Rodeo shot Travis into superstardom, Days Before will always be remembered as the epic prelude, a living embodiment of the grind as a young rager from Houston scratches and claws his way to the top.